Hey man,
Hi, Sid. How are you?
great man. I'm just getting onto my tab here, which I was looking at, and then I was checking up the latest score of Pakistan and Bangladesh. But before we talk about that, let's quickly discuss this World Cup final between Australia and New Zealand. I know you had very strong thoughts. You were not happy with New Zealand. You said you couldn't take them seriously. Do you still stand by those sentiments?
Yeah, look, we were very optimistic prior to the final, that
Um,
we are
uh,
expecting a close contest. And
yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, leading up into that game,
Mhm.
New Zealand had a good tournament. They were very impressive in the group stages, and Australia as well.
Mhm.
So on the balance of that, there wasn't
Mhm.
much that was. I mean, there wasn't much between both sides, but. I guess that result is not a surprise to me and to a lot of folks because Australia have had the wood over New Zealand in tournaments, especially in finals.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it really
Mhm.
doesn't come as a surprise to me at all. And
Yeah.
I mean, Australia were up for this. They were really, really up for this. With the ball, they kind of restricted New Zealand to a score that I thought that was probably comfortable for them to face
Mm,
on that
mm,
wicket. So
mm.
unfortunate that the toss really plays a quite a big part here in these sort of games. And yeah, I guess we saw it again today. But I mean, I wonder how much the toss really would have mattered with the end result because Australia looked really focused to win this game, and they did it quite comfortably in the end. And yeah, I mean, who would have thought? I'm the side that was written off. 6
Yeah, man.
months prior to the World Cup, and even leading up to the World Cup, I guess performances were not there. Yes, if you look at the squad, there were a lot of senior players missing, and that really counted against them. But I guess once they got those senior players back, this is when we saw the best of this Australian side. When all these players were back, I do feel there's one or two players in this team that really don't, you know, match up well for this sort of format. I think a guy like Smith, I think probably he's sort of a guy that hasn't really, come to grips with this sort of format. And
Yeah.
we've seen his performances. I think, the standout for me, I mean, we go all about David Warner, but I think the standout for me has been Mitch Marsh at number 3. I think he's really taken the game away from opponents. And I saw it in that West Indies game as well. I mean, the way he took the game away, that was really impressive to see. And I mean, David Warner could just play his natural game, and in the semi-final as well against Pakistan, that was a very crucial partnership. So yeah, I mean, you got to give it to them. They peaked at the right time, and they got the job done in the end. And I guess it's another final, another missed opportunity for New Zealand, and it seems to be becoming a trend now with them.
Yeah, I remember that when we did our predictions, I predicted Australia to win. You said it was 50-50, and the reason why I said Australia was because if Australia had to choose which opponents they would want to get in a final out of all the teams, I think they would have picked New Zealand, eh? And that's not to disrespect them. It's just that I think Australia just know how to play against New Zealand. So that's just my theory, but I don't know if you agree with
Yeah,
that theory or not.
I guess no, I absolutely agree with that because I feel New Zealand bring an orthodox way of playing the game. And I guess if you don't have those unorthodox players and those sort of tricky bowlers that the Australians are not used to facing, that's where the element of surprise comes into it. Whereas India do have those bowlers and England as well have those sort of bowlers, those tricky bowlers like Rashid
Hmm.
that can get purchase of the wicket and guys like Wokes that can actually change the game with these subtle movements. But New Zealand are quite an orthodox team. They play to their strengths. I mean, they're a side that that they understand they understand what they have as a squad,
Mm-hmm.
and they get the best out of their players. But I think this is an opportunity missed as well. I probably think this was the best opportunity for them to win the tournament, and I
Yeah,
think
maybe.
this is one gone by. And it's going to be hard for them. It's going to be hard for me to see them get another opportunity like this, because I thought this probably could have been the game that they could have went that one step further, uh,
Mm.
and lifted this trophy. But I mean, on the balance of it, they probably had a good tournament. I mean, getting to the final, but I think
Yeah,
I think it's the biggest sort of disappointment to lose in a final. And
yeah,
look,
yeah,
Australia won the game quite comfortably in the end. Yeah, they won
yeah,
it quite comfortably in the end.
yeah. But on a final note, I just think I know we had many discussions on this on WhatsApp, but I just think this tournament was all designed for Australia. I mean, they only played at two venues, isn't it? They didn't really play at Sharjah, and then and also I think it just worked out for them that once England got out of the tournament in the semi-finals, I think it was like if they didn't beat Pakistan, they probably felt they wouldn't have had the best chance of ever winning a T20 tournament. So,
Yeah, I mean, you can only play who you're up against. And I mean, yeah, I agree with you. Think I think there's a few big teams that underperformed the tournament.
disappointed they did because New
Let's
Zealand
be honest.
did everything you could want out of them, and yet they still didn't go through. I mean, they still didn't finish it off. So it's frustrating because they did everything you'd ever want. They defended, they chased. I mean, they played at all the venues, I think. So yeah, that's just my frustration. But I think credit to Australia, they took advantage of all the opportunity they got, and yeah, that's it on that topic. So
Yeah, I mean, look,
you concur on my
I
frustration.
guess the reason why these two teams, I guess the reason why we've seen these two teams in the final
Yeah,
is I guess there's quite a few big teams that have underperformed this tournament. I think the West Indies
yeah,
had a wretched tournament, and
yeah,
expected of them and didn't deliver. And then India
yeah,
as well. India fell short as well in the group stages. So I
yeah.
think we got an unlikeliest of five. But
You
I
don't
mean, having
say.
said that, the Australians have underperformed in this sort of format in the past. So I think this is
Hmm.
bragging rights for them. But
Yeah.
I expect a much tougher test for them come the next tournament, because I think a lot of big teams are going to step up their game. And
Hmm.
I mean, uh, who knows who's going to make it to the final in 2022? So, I
I
mean, this is
wouldn't
the
be.
unpredictability of T20.
Yeah.
Anything
I would
possible.
definitely. India should make
Yeah, you really
semifinals.
can't write
Yeah,
it. I
I
mean,
expect. I wouldn't be surprised if
the
India made semifinals
good thing
minimum.
for a lot of teams,
Yeah. Hmm.
the good thing for
Hmm.
a lot of teams is that, yeah, look, the good thing for a lot of teams is Australia can only hold on to this title for a year, and then the next World Cup arrives. So that's a
Yeah.
lot of motivation for other teams to actually step it up and give a better showing. And I'm pretty sure we can see a much tougher and more fierce World Cup come a year's time.
Yeah. And I think the conditions will be a lot fairer. There won't be so much dew, so we'll see how good or otherwise Australia are at home. So I think we can get to the India versus New Zealand series. India win the series 2-0. I find this bittersweet. I'll tell you why. Bitter in the sense that they didn't even perform like this in the World Cup, and sweet that at least the series win will help the fans forget about the World Cup disappointment. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on it. And also, I felt it's a bit unfair on New Zealand up to that World Cup disappointment and straight away in 3 days play. So it was always going to be up against them in so many ways. So just my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I think the difference here is India didn't set a score. They were chasing, and they're
Mm.
very
Mm.
they're sort of side that's very confident in the chase. So they like chasing scores down. So
Yeah,
I think an Indian side that chases a score is a dangerous team. So
yeah.
I mean, conditions are familiar. But
Mm.
having said that, I think I mean I gave my prediction prior to the series, and I said that
Yeah, yeah,
this Indian
yeah,
side
yeah.
is going to be too strong in these conditions for this New Zealand outfit,
Mm.
and it proved to be the case. And that is what Kane Williamson brings to the side. I mean, if you take Kane Williamson out of this team, it's taking probably 45% of of performance levels in this team, especially in the batting department. So he's such a massive part of this lineup, and it adds to that. I mean, had he been there, it's probably another 25, 30 runs to that score, and you're looking at 180, 190, which is much more challenging for India than I'd say 160
Yeah.
or 157, which is just a pass score. I mean, you're not
Yeah,
going to win a
and
lot of games in India scoring a pass score.
yeah, and that first game could have actually gone either way, even though India were cruising it, because they only wanted was two balls to spare in the first game. Fine, second game was much more convincing. Pant hit those two sixes. I think one of them was like one-handed. I don't know how the hell he does it, but my point is that New Zealand are scrappers. They don't give up, and that's something I can respect about them.
I
Admire.
mean,
I just think, hmm.
I think India really probably messed it up a bit in the end for themselves. I think that would have been a comfortable win, just playing sensible cricket. But I think they tried a few big shots to end it in style. But I mean, these things happen in T20. But I still feel, I mean, even though it's two balls to square, it was quite comfortable in the end. India were never really out of it. So yeah, I mean, uh, I think they're probably satisfied with both of their uh, with their first two performances in this series. And
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, who would go against an Indian whitewash come Sunday?
Yeah, oh yeah, you're right. Tomorrow, 3:30 p.m. our time, I think. Yeah, what are your thoughts going on to tomorrow? You think they're going to make any changes? Do you think they're going to maybe rest Rahul, give people like Kishan a chance to open, or maybe try Iyer? Because I feel the series is more of a good way of
I
trialing
mean,
out the blood,
look,
yeah. New,
whoever they bring in, they're quite competent. They're quite competent. I
hmm.
mean, if you bring in Kishan, I mean, I think Rahul deserves a bit of a break, and Rohit, because they've been playing non-stop. I'd say they've been in this bubble for a very long time.
Yeah, but then who would you make
Tour
captain?
to
If you give
tour, and
Rahul and Rohit a break, who would captain? So you need Rohit there at captaincy on his own. He's a good captain. So we keep him, but you just give Rahul a break, and then you. It was nice seeing Harshal play. It's good to see him playing. I think he'll definitely play tomorrow.
yeah, I
Hmm.
look. I personally feel both deserve a break, but however, the captaincy obviously has got to be looked upon as well. So I probably would see a rotation there. And I mean, there could be a rotation for the Test series as well because look, there's a big series coming up for them next month, so they want to keep their players fresh for that one, and that's going to be looking forward to as well. So yeah, if we don't see any rotation in this T20 series, I see a bit of rotation in that first Test probably.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, definitely rest Rahul tomorrow and then bring in Avish Khan for one of the paces. Also, what I would like to see, and I don't think India will do it because they'll probably want to have revenge over New Zealand and win 3-0, but I'd like to try and see if they can defend the score in
I mean,
Kolkata.
but
I know there'll be a lot
look,
of dew there, but it'll be a good way of just testing the bowlers out. So it's good preparation for whichever event happens. But don't think India will do it. But anyway, that's just my wish list.
yeah, I mean, I was very impressed in Harshal. I thought his debut was sensational. I think his control and the way he controlled that innings through the middle and restricted New Zealand was fantastic. So I don't think there's any warrant to drop him because I mean debut man of the match can't get any better. So I mean they probably could look at Siraj,
Yeah.
probably risking Siraj and probably one of the other paces. That could be an option as well. But
Hmm.
yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what side they pick.
So on a final note, we're predicting Indian whitewash tomorrow.
Very likely, unless you catch India a bit complacent,
Yeah.
and then maybe New Zealand can get over the line. But I think if they're going to be playing the cricket that we've seen in the past two games, I think it's going to be a comfortable 3-0 series win for India.
Yeah, I think there's
The
a lot
only
of
thing that
dew
can
tomorrow.
work
So,
against him is complacency. Yeah,
if New Zealand are chasing at night, then yes, I think that's the best chance of winning tomorrow because there'll be a lot of dew tomorrow. So I think New Zealand will be.
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. But the toss is
I
going to be
think.
crucial. I think
Hmm.
whoever wins the toss will
Yeah.
probably want to have a bowl first and chase it
Hmm.
down. So yeah, dew is a massive factor.
Actually, there was dew in the second game, but it was a lot fairer. Like I was watching Crick Buzz, and they were saying it was a lot fairer match because both teams had to contend with the dew when they were bowling on either side. So it was a fair match. Hopefully, it's like that tomorrow. So at least it doesn't really matter who bats, who bowls, you know. So that's just my way of looking at it.
Yeah, and obviously they play in Kolkata, so that's a high scoring ground. So yeah, I can
Hmm.
expect a
Hmm.
run fest there as well. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a good
hopefully.
chasing ground. So I think whoever wins the toss would want to have a ball first and probably back themselves in the chase. So yeah,
Hmm.
could be an exciting
Okay,
game,
definitely. Okay,
high
so we
scoring.
get quickly to quickly Pakistan, Bangladesh. Pakistan won the first match by, let me just see the results. Here was, oh, what, by 4 wickets. They were chasing 128, and we both know how delightful the scores are in Bangladesh. I watched the highlights actually of the first 20. It was quite close. I just thought they were going too short toward the end. So,
Yeah, I mean, strangely enough, I actually didn't see a
because I
ball of
thought it was
this
just a temporary blip, these pitches, but
opening
it's
game
continuing even in
and,
the
and
Pakistan
the
series.
second game as
Now,
well. But
if you look at
yeah,
the
what
second
I've
half,
noticed is I
okay,
think
sorry.
uh, obviously the spinners get a lot of purchasing on those wickets there, and they
Hmm.
make it
Hmm.
difficult for run scoring, especially in the middle overs. So I think if you can get a score around 140, 150, that's definitely a winning score on those wickets, definitely, because they're really
150
low
is
and
a
slow and they
miracle, man.
deteriorate well.
Yeah, 150 is even a miracle on those pitches, man. In fact, I always found 150 to be a fair score. I find it like to be a middling score, which I could tolerate, but 130s, and even today's
Yeah,
match,
you know,
Bangladesh made like 107 today, 108 for 7, and now Pakistan are pretty much leading 16 runs of 32 balls, so this will be a series win for Pakistan, unless they do a Punjab, and even then, even if they do a Punjab performance like Chris Trap in the IPL, it's not going to happen. So credits to Pakistan, they're playing well, they're continuing from the World Cup performance, so good, good, good.
sorry, how many did Bangladesh make in that first innings?
108 for 7 in today's match.
Was it 108?
Yeah. Yeah, and Pakistan are like 94 for 1 in 14.5 overs, so they should chase it down. 15 of 31 balls, that's ridiculous.
I mean, they should win this at a canter. They should really win this at a canter, probably with 4 overs to spare,
Hmm.
3 or 4 overs to spare. So
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, this is quite a emphatic win for Pakistan, and
yeah.
I kind of sensed it because I mean, uh, conditions are quite familiar to what they
Hmm.
obviously
Hmm.
have back home as well. So
Hmm.
I'm not surprised by how well Pakistan have played in this
No,
series.
I would say the Pakistan conditions at home are a lot better than Bangladesh, with due respect. I mean, it's pathetic. I don't see how Bangladesh cricket is going to improve with such conditions. And what I don't get, they're quite an economical, viable country, Bangladesh. It's not like they can't afford to get better pitches being prepared, you know. Maybe they should invest in drop-in pitches. I don't know how expensive it is, but it's something to look at, you know. Maybe an indoor cricket stadium, maybe that's a bit too expensive, but something, you know.
I guess I mean it's really I mean it's sometimes it's all down to the mindset of batsman. I mean, you look at a wicket and you look at a wicket, that's bad. I mean, but if you really go at it, go hard in the power play, I guess you can get to that 150, 160. There's no reason why you can't get to that score. So I think it's more mindset. I think it's more mindset than anything else. I think I guess we read too much into the low scores, but I mean, Bangladesh batting
Yeah,
has been
maybe.
woeful for a very long time. So you don't expect you kind of expect those scores from the home side. But I think it's down to mindset, and if you got the proper mindset, you can get
Yeah,
value for answer those irrespective.
yeah. But I think your mindset goes for a toss when you play on such wickets, eh? Because they just demoralize you, man. I mean, I can imagine. Like, what's funny
Yeah, but I
is
mean,
that
we haven't really seen sides tour there yet. So I think if a good side tours there, sort of like in England, you could see a 160, 170 on those wickets. So uh, I
I
mean,
like your
it
optimism.
takes
Even I
to
would
play.
find I even find it hard for England to score 160 on those pitches. Terrible. Maybe 140. I could see them doing that, but 160 is a lot. But anyways, on a final note, what's your take on AB's retirement? I know he had a long career, hey? And yeah, kudos to him, man. I think in this IPL, his powers were diminishing, so it made sense that he probably called it a day.
It's goodbye to my favorite cricketer. And I mean, this is the second time that I'm actually saying goodbye because the first time was in 2018 when he retired from international cricket. And then again, I think, probably, through my, uh, watching cricket over the years, I think this is probably being the most dynamic batsman that I've seen in ODI cricket for the past 15 years. Quite
Hmm.
simply the best player. Uh, uh,
Hmm.
uh, Mr. 360. He could score all around the wicket, and he's going to be a big loss to RCB, definitely. And
Hmm.
he's such a good player in that side, so they really need to step it up. And AB is AB. I mean, he can drop you bombshells when you least expect, and he's dropped another bombshell again today. And I was sad at the news. I was very sad at the news, but I mean, it was, you could say it was probably coming as in a way because he hasn't had much cricket uh,
Hmm.
in the year, and I think this bubble life tends to get to you sometime, and
Hmm.
I think he's come at a stage now where he feels that this is the right timing, and it probably is in a way. I still feel he had another 3 or 4 years to give to the Proteas, but you got to respect his decision as well. But
Yeah.
we've lost one of the stalwarts of the IPL. We've really lost one of the stalwarts of the IPL and the game. So we wish him well in his retirement, and yeah, he'll be sorely missed.
Okay, and one talking point was the sudden resignation of Tim Paine from the Australian captaincy. What was your take on that?
Yeah, this was really bizarre when I heard about it yesterday. But I think it's unacceptable for an Australian captain to behave the way that he did, and yeah, I guess I guess you don't mind seeing Australian cricket in a bit of turmoil. So I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's quite refreshing, I feel. So
That's the first time I
it's
heard
going to be
that.
interesting to see
Refreshing.
who takes the captaincy because that really
I
changes
would,
their plans now as to
I
who's going to
would
get the
love
captain.
to
But I
see
probably think it's going to be
captain.
Cummins.
I'd love him
Uh,
to get him. He's a
I don't think
lovely
they'll
guy.
ever give it back to David Warner or Smith because I think
I think David
they've
Warner is
lost
not allowed
complete
to be
faith in them
captain.
as leaders.
No,
Sorry?
David Warner is not allowed. No, so David Warner is not allowed to be captain. He's been banned for that portion for life. I know Steven Smith can get it, but he's tainted in that sense. So I don't think he'll get it. It'd be too much of a weird thing for the public to see Steven Smith in that spot. So I think
Look,
I'd
I
love to
think
see
I
Pat
think
Cummins
whoever's
get it.
involved in that sandpaper gate scandal really cannot be given that captaincy again. I think it's a complete loss, lack of faith from the cricket board, and I think in the media as whole. It would really be send a bad message to
Hmm.
I guess to the cricketing world if those two players actually got the leadership again for the
Wow.
Australian team.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, I
I
expect
think
Pat
this
Cummins to get it.
complicates their plans a bit. I think
Uh,
this really complicates their
yeah.
plans a bit for the Ashes because
Yeah.
it unsettles the team a bit because I think we all expected Payne to be the captain
Yeah.
and lead this team, but now it's probably not the sort of news that they wanted leading up to such a huge series. And
Yeah.
I think the English team would want to would want to play on this sort of unease in the Australian camp. But let's see how it
Yeah,
goes. It's still going to be a tough ask down under.
definitely. But with due respect to Tim Paine, he's not the greatest captain in the world. I don't think it's going to destroy Australia much. And I'll tell you why. They haven't won that much under Tim Paine. Fine, I know they beat New Zealand in Australian conditions, and I think they didn't beat India. They didn't beat who else didn't they beat at home? I know they've lost two series to India under Tim Paine. Oh yeah, I think they did well in the Ashes down in England. That could have gone to them, but then Ben Stokes did that miracle knock, and then there's so yeah, I think Pat Cummins would be a good guy for Australia. I think he'll do a lot better than Tim Paine. I feel.
Look, let's be fair here. I mean, he didn't get the captaincy at the most easiest time. It was
Mm,
probably the most
yeah,
difficult time
difficult.
in Australian cricket when he got the
Yeah.
job
Mm,
as skipper.
mm.
So I think he did his best in a way,
Yeah, of
but I
course. Yeah,
think
yeah, yeah.
probably uh, I think probably fallen short. I think that India series probably was a sort of series that he didn't want to lose, and I think losing into India back to back was
Yeah.
probably a bit of a disappointment to him. But
Mm,
having said that, I mean he retained the Ashes in England, which was
mm,
huge.
mm,
So
mm.
I think you could probably giving him a satisfactory
Yeah.
score for with regard to his captaincy. I don't think he was the worst captain
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah.
for Australia, but he wasn't the
Yeah.
best either. But he was really in between. But
Yeah.
I think he sort of brought Australian cricket back to the standard that
Yes.
we expect from them,
Yeah.
and probably him and Langer played a big part in cleaning the sort of culture in the game that was obviously tainted by what happened in 2018. So look. The jury is still out in this Australian team. There is a bit of weaknesses there, and
Of
I'm
course.
not sure if England does has a team to exploit it. But I do hope they bring in some quicks, because I think a guy like Woody is going to be quite handy on these wickets here with his pace, and he could cause them
Yeah.
a lot of trouble. So look to win a Test series in Australia, you need pace. You need pace, and
Yeah.
you need a good
Only
you need a good
the
pace attack,
problem.
and
Yeah.
you need a solid batting lineup as well that can score runs, because I mean this is 5 tests, so it's going to be a 5 days of test cricket that is going to be gripping stuff.
Yeah, but like, do you okay? But do you concur that Pat Cummins is gonna get the job? Hello?
Yeah, no, I was saying that this is going to be a massive task for England. So they've probably got to pick their best team right through the series, and they've got to find that balance there in terms of their bowling and batting. So uh, I mean, I would have loved to see Archer on his wickets, because I think he would have done
Mm.
tremendously well on these backs here, because it suits his style of bowling. But I'm not sure with regards to that injury if he's actually going to make it. So yeah,
Mm.
I
Mm.
think the
Mm.
mantle falls on the old heads, and Wood as well. I think he's got a big part to play for England in this series. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be really really interesting, and I think it's going to be much closer than people think.
Yeah, but do you think Pat Cummins is gonna get the captaincy on a final note?
Sorry, I didn't get you there.
Instead, do you think Pat Cummins will get the captaincy?
At the moment, I don't think they have much choice, because there's not many candidates in that side to actually be given the captaincy. And look, Cummins is one of those guys that it's probably one of those likable characters in the side as well. And from a from a neutral point of view, he's the sort of guy that's quite likable across the world. And I think that's probably he was stated as being the next Test captain. I mean, this is a perfect opportunity to try him. And I mean, what better series than the Ashes? And then I think if he can win the Ashes, that would really put him in the in Australian folklore if he could do that as captain. So yeah, at the moment I don't see too many candidates. So I probably think between Cummins and I was picking out another candidate, but I'm not sure if they would look into that. But Manas Labuschagne, I think probably he's got that leadership qualities. And he seems to be quite a consistent performer as well with Cummins. I think those two have been consistent in that Australian Test team for quite some time now. Consistent performances. Yeah, those two would probably be standouts, but probably leading towards Cummins for the job.
Yeah, I can just see that Pakistan now need one run of 12 balls. So my quick thoughts are that in advance, congrats to Pakistan for series win.
Quite comfortable at the end.
Yeah, like one run of 12 balls. I'm not gonna see a tie here, so I'm just giving my congrats in advance.
Yeah, I mean, winning with 12 balls to Spain in a T20 match is quite a big. It's quite a huge. It's quite a huge victory. So I mean, that's comfortable, and I mean, it just goes to show that's the sort of wickets where you want to bowl first and strangle your opponents and then chase the score down. So it's the T20 cricket at the moment where you win the toss. You field first and you chase the score down. So that is how 98% of matches are going these days. So no surprises there.
Yeah, and now they've finally finished it off by 8 wickets, and then on Monday they will play the final T20, then followed by the 2 Test matches, which I will expect Pakistan to win those as well. So you expect Pakistan to clinch it 3-0, right, for the T20s?
Probably, but I mean, Bangladesh are quite competitive at home. So, I mean, I wouldn't want to write them off completely. But, yeah, it's looking at the rankings on the wall at the moment.
Okay. I think that's pretty much a wrap. And then we'll check each other next week.
Enjoy your week, Sid. Chat to you soon.